To Honourable Peeni Henare.
Madam Speaker, in a week where this House lamented the loss of Jim Bolger and his legacy about correcting injustices and wrongs of the past, I can't help but think about the last time I caught up with Jim Bolger at the airport, where he talked about what he knew of his experience with Ngāpuhi and the Ngāpuhi settlement, but more importantly about the reason why he felt it was important that this House continued to correct the injustices of the past. And I can't help but think about him on this occasion. The third reading of this bill, Madam Speaker, continues a long legacy of this House over many, many years of treating Māori as second-class citizens, as continuing to ignore their historic, their customary, and indeed their property rights to many of the spaces that Mr. Goldsmith has just outlined in his speech. Now, on a slightly happier note for myself, I want to acknowledge yesterday was the birthday of my baby girl.
Nice.
Happy birthday, Mariah. And why I mention her is her middle name is Te Ao Māori o Te Rangi, which honours my ancestor from o Tamatea, who has whakapapa, mana, and customary title to the kaipara. And there's a reason why our people do this. There's a reason why our people give names like that. There's a reason why we continue to honour the memory of our ancestors so that these things are never lost in time. So in saying happy birthday to my baby, I'm now saying thank you for carrying on a legacy of your tupuna. Madam Speaker, I sat here and listened to the Minister, not just in his third reading speech, but in the progress of this bill now, which has taken over a year. And I thought we could go toe-to-toe on quotes by the Honourable Christopher Finlayson. We could go toe-to-toe on quotes around treaty settlements and this particular matter that are in the Hansard and quoted in this House. But I thought, no, what I'm going to do is continue to grow that record and evidence for our people to continue to show our customary title to Te Takutai moana. And I want to start by acknowledging first I come from a proud tribe called Te Ao Māori, and our ancestor is Tū Matahina. And Tū Matahina is famed for saving his people by ushering them along the Takutai moana, leading them to safety to the place they now call home today. That is an unbroken link of our ancestor Tū Matahina and Te Ao Māori in the far north. And I want to raise in particular our ancestor Tū Matahina and acknowledge and bring to the attention of the House my matua, the Honourable Shane Jones, also a descendant of Tū Matahina, and let it serve as a reminder to my matua Shane Jones and the coalition agreement that saw this particular bill enter this House. Next, Madam Speaker, I want to acknowledge I am a descendant of Tarutaru and Ruapaunamu, which makes me a descendant of Te Rarawa. And for those in this House who know where Te Rarawa is, you'll be familiar with where the 90 Mile Beach is. You will be familiar with many of the other places south of the 90 Mile Beach where Te Rarawa calls home. We have an arrangement there to look after 90 Mile Beach on behalf of all New Zealanders that was agreed on by this House. Yet, for whatever reason, this government continues to say co-governance, co-management or working alongside Māori is not the thing to do, and would rather score political points instead of underscoring the good frameworks that are already in place that allow management of places like the Marine and Takutai moana, in this instance the 90 Mile Beach. Madam Speaker, my next whakapapa comes from Ngāti Aukiwa, Ngāti Kahu, which is my mother's people in the Whangaroa Harbour. We continue to live there, we continue to harvest seafood there, we continue to look after that place when councils have forgotten that place for a long, long time. And then when it becomes fashionable to have a batch by the beach, the councils all of a sudden remember and then try to price us out of paradise. Guess what? We're still there. And I want that to reaffirm my whakapapa and my heritage to my Ngāti Kahu whānau. My grandmother, Madam Speaker, is a Davis, and that's how I'm related to the Honourable Calvin Davis. And I come from another place called Waikare, which makes me a descendant of Te Kapotai. And you can tell by the name Waikare, it's right by the ocean. And we continue to live there, and I want to reassert on the Hansard this evening my ongoing whakapapa, my ongoing heritage, and my ongoing customary title to Te Kapotai, to Waikare, and to my people in the upper inlets of the Bay of Islands. Madam Speaker, I've already spoken to my whakapapa to Ngāti Whātua, the Kaipara Harbour, and how my people continue to hold their customary title at the Kaipara Harbour, starting at Otamatea, heading out to the west coast. Madam Speaker, then I come down to my next whakapapa link. I am a descendant of Te Whakatohea, of Te Whānau Pāpuni, the Tupuna Pāpuni, Ngāti Rua. And for those of you who have ever journeyed around the coast, you will come to a beautiful spot called Omarumutu, of which I call home. That is where my people continue to live. That is where my people continue to practice their customary title and their mana and their whakapapa to our home at Omarumutu. So I want to acknowledge my whakatohea whakapapa. Next, Madam Speaker, I'm a descendant of Te Mauparawa, which makes me a descendant of Ngāti Kahungunu. Many people in this house know Ngāti Kahungunu, generally related to the area of the Hawke's Bay, but more specifically for me, it's to the northern part of what we now call the Hawke's Bay region, to a small community just north of Nuhaka, which is where my tupuna, Te Mauparawa, comes from. And that's why I claim to be of Ngāti Kahungunu descent, and why I continue to live and work alongside my whānau in that area to continue to show this government and to show everybody in that district that the descendants of Te Mauparawa and the descendants of Ngāti Kahungunu continue to hold customary title, mana and whakapapa to that region. Finally, Madam Speaker, I am a descendant of Rongo Whakata. And for those in the House that will know Rongo Whakata, it is in and around the Gisborne district. I am the descendant of two sisters that were taken after Ngāpuhi went south. Their names are Wahine Kino and Hauora. And that gives me my whakapapa to Rongo Whakata. And I want to acknowledge Rongo Whakata, who continue to show how Rongo Whakata cares for its environment, for its region, and in particular for a beautiful part of the coast that many of us New Zealanders call home. But they continue to show their mana and their whakapapa to a part of New Zealand which links them inextricably. And there is no law or no legislation that can be passed in this House that will extinguish that, despite the efforts of this particular bill trying to do that. Madam Speaker, the Minister during the Committee of the Whole spoke about some of the whakapapa of this bill, and he mentioned the Labour Party. In 2004, I was at university in Auckland and marched across the bridge against what the then Labour Party were doing. One of the traits of a good politician, and indeed a good person, is they recognise when they do wrong and they apologise for that. They work hard to make sure that they can fix those injustices of the past. And when we became government in 2017, it was one of the first things the Right Honourable Jacinda Ardern did in recognising what Labour had done in 2004 was wrong and unjust. She publicly apologised for that particular matter, and we continue to work on our relationship to build that bridge again and build that relationship with the Māori people. I hope, Madam Speaker, that this Minister and this government recognise sometime in the near future the wrongs of this act, the wrongs of this bill, and may find it in themselves to come back and apologise not just to the people of this House and of this Parliament, but to the Māori people right around the country. Madam Speaker, it makes me sad that we are here doing this particular bill. And I thought Mr. Finlayson described the purpose of this bill quite well over the past few days. And I hope that what he has said continues to echo in the ears of New Zealanders right around this country as we look towards protecting our beautiful foreshore and seabed.